All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started today. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing your website and driving more traffic to get higher conversion. So, good afternoon once again to everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry about yesterday's webinar attempt. There were some technical difficulties that we had to work through, but we were able to get it up and running today. So, we're going to go ahead and move forward today, and hopefully, we don't have any issues. But to go ahead and get started, we want to welcome you guys to our third part of the 6-week series on smarter online and mobile marketing. As always, we're focusing in this series on local business sector and looking to help companies anywhere from a single storefront to multi-location and large franchise businesses that have local entities. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. Reminder, if you missed last week's webinar, it was a good one. We have posted on our YouTube channel for you to enjoy. Simply find it by searching for the Keybot channel on YouTube. You can also find the transcript on our blog, which is on Tumblr, as well as a presentation on our SlideShare channel. You can just look up Keybot on SlideShare or on Tumblr, and you'll find that there as well. Just a few weeks left in this series, so I want to make sure that we point out what's going to be coming up over the next couple weeks. So as I mentioned today, we're going to be talking about optimizing your website, driving more traffic, and getting better conversion. Our next one, next Wednesday, the 22nd, will be online advertising, targeting, and remarketing. On the 29th, we're going to be talking about branding and brand consistency. And then on November 5th, we'll be talking about social for the local business community, how to use all those social channels to really affect customers and build conversion tactics that way as well. So looking forward to having you guys join us on those. As always, I want to reiterate that throughout this webinar, you can submit questions to us through the question and answer system located right here in the screen share if you're joining us through Google+. If you're watching through YouTube, I don't believe the question and answer system is there. But you can send us questions via email. My email is right there at the bottom, mawhite@keybot.com. Go and shoot emails there. We'll be monitoring my email address as well. So send us emails with any questions, and we'll make sure to get to them either during the slideshow or at the end. So now, without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. So just kind of go over the agenda a little bit, what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be focusing this presentation on key development and optimization strategies and tactics to ensure that your site is fully optimized for on-page optimization and for those SEO purposes that you guys are looking for. For those that you may not remember, we're going to be talking about on-page. So on-page optimization refers to the work and the information that you put into your site specifically to ensure the search engines have a good understanding of what your business does, what your site is about, and what you're trying to convey. So we're going to talk about, again, on-page optimization, what that is, how it works, and through that we're going to talk about metadata, what it is, how you use it, images on your sites, site mapping, H tags or title tags, they're typically called as well, the layout of your site, and then content formatting, how you should really kind of write that content for your site. We're also going to be talking a bit about some conversion strategies and conversion tactics as well. So we're going to talk about calls to action, what we need to do to make sure people understand how to get a hold of you. Focusing on your strengths, understanding what your business is and how you focus your messaging according to that. And then remarketing, what you can do to, if somebody comes to your site and then leaves, how you can remarket to them to make sure that you're getting them to come back and buy from you. So that's the agenda for today. We'll go ahead and jump into on-page optimization. So on-page optimization, as we discussed before, it's making sure that you've optimized your site on your actual website for SEO purposes. There's a lot that goes into this, and one of the biggest things we're going to be talking about here is metadata to start with. So metadata is really the information that you put into the head of your website. So in the code, in the head of the website, that's where you're going to put this kind of information. As you see, we have a little image here of just the code and how it's going to look in the back end. And there's really three main pieces of information that are important when it comes to metadata. It's going to be your your page title, as you can see here, your page description, and then keywords. So let's just kind of go through each one of these meta tag systems and kind of understand exactly what it is and how you should be utilizing it. So meta title, how should it read? What should it look like? Your meta title is basically what you want the title of that page to be. You want to ensure that the search engines, from a quick view, understand what the subject of that page is and what location that you're serving, if you're a local business. And you want to make sure that your name of the company is in it, because a lot of times people are searching. If you're a branded company or if people know of you, they're going to search the name of that company. You want to make sure that information is in there as well. A fairly common structure that most local businesses utilize for this kind of a strategy is, as you can see right here, page title. You put your title, so the page can be the About Us page or a certain service or product page. So whatever that is, that should be your title. And then the location, whatever location you're serving. So if you're in San Francisco, California, such as we are, I would put San Francisco, California right there. And then the business name. So again, just to make sure that any branded searches will find your page effectively. So your business name should go right there. So that's a pretty effective page title for a local business. Next, we got the meta description here. So meta description really is kind of as simple as it sounds. It's a brief synopsis of what should be expected by navigating to your page. Try to keep this brief. You want to keep it to about 300 characters or less. But you want to include some keywords about what that specific page is. And of course, don't forget about your location. Again, this is about local businesses. You want to make sure that your location is really everywhere you can be within your website. This also typically shows up, the meta description typically shows up in the description area when you have a search and Google brings up information about your page. As you can see here in the image, the description is, again, typically that is being pulled directly from your meta description. And then lastly, keywords. So this is an interesting one. There's been a lot of debate over the years as to whether or not these are relevant any longer. Search engines these days typically don't put that much, if any, weight into what you put in your keyword metadata of your site. But the way I see it is, if it's there, if it's usable, it doesn't hurt to put it in. Plus, it actually can help quite a bit in tagging your company for certain key terms or in some directories. There are actually some site development systems, such as ours, actually, that when you create your site, those kind of keywords actually can be used as tags for our own directory purposes. And you want to make sure that it's in there so that you're tagged correctly and people can find your company the way you want them to. So that's meta information. Again, there's a lot of information that goes into that, and we can dive into it more. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me or get to us, and we can chat more about it. But that's what meta description and meta information is. So next, we're going to dive into images. So images are one of the most important pieces in making your site inviting. Really, it helps create an interesting visual appeal to your website. And many people actually look at the images on a page before they even read the content. So it's important that when you're placing images, when you're creating your site, you create quality images. You place quality images that really kind of show what that page is about. So you want it to be very relatable to what you're talking about and the content on that page, and you want it to be a quality image, of course. Also, it just helps to break up the monotony of a heavy text page. So if you have a page where you can't get around having quite a bit of text on it, throw some images in. It really just helps break up that monotony a little bit and helps drive more interest and intrigue into your site. With images, though, there's some definite things you want to make sure you look at. One is alt tags. Alt tags or image tags are basically the way you would describe that photo. So unfortunately, search engines really have a hard time understanding exactly what an image is and how it relates to your business. They can't actually look at that photo and deduce what is actually being displayed in that picture. An alt tag is like an image description where you can input information about that picture, what it means to your potential customer. It also helps in ranking for key terms when a person searches for a product or a service, and they happen to navigate to the image tab. If you have a good description in your image, then it actually can help you rank for certain images in that area. Again, it's just another place to rank. A lot of people, when they're searching for certain products, they may actually go look for images, and if you can have an image of your product or service up on top, it's obviously going to be great for your business. But how do you utilize them? So as we said, alt tags are great for being able to describe what that specific image is trying to show. Now, it's our recommendation that you use an image, use an image per page that is very topical to the subject of whatever that web page is. So again, whatever that service or the About Us or whatever it is, make sure it's very topical, it really relates to what you're talking about. Then you can use specific keywords, and again, going back to your location, put your service location for that page in that alt tag. Make sure that information is there so you can actually really get that authority built into it. But you want to make sure you also do not overdo it. There can be problems with keyword stuffing, which really is a serious no-no for search engines. If they see you just placing a ton of keywords in an alt image like that, they can actually penalize you for that, and that's definitely something you don't want to do. So just make it readable. Make it like how you would want to read about an image, and then make sure you have a keyword and a location tag inside of that alt tag when you create it. Next is sitemaps. I'm sure you've all seen at some point or another at the bottom of most websites, there's typically a link there that is called sitemap. But I'm sure most of you are wondering, what is that? What does it do? How does it help my marketing performance? And if you've ever clicked on it, you can typically see what it is. It's just a list of the pages and kind of the formatting of how that site is functioning. So what is sitemap? It really is exactly what it sounds like. It's a map to your website. What it really does is it helps search engines understand how the site flows, how pages are connected, and really kind of shows them the overall structure of your entire site. But what does it do? That's the big thing. I mean, we can always place this map, this list in there, but what's the purpose? So from an SEO standpoint, it's important to make sure the search engine understands the layout of your site so you can index and recall it properly. Furthermore, the search engine takes a snapshot of your website on a regular basis. It takes like just a quick snapshot of your website, pulls some information and indexes it. Without a quality sitemap, it's actually fairly easy for certain web pages or pages on your site to actually get missed. It could be a very important part of your business, a certain service that you offer. For some reason, Google did not scrape that site appropriately and they missed it. A sitemap is how you actually are telling Google and Bing and other search engines how you want them to read your site, what sites, what pages are on there, and how it's all formatted. And you want to make sure that it's built, and this gets a little bit technical, but you want to make sure it's built in an XML format. There's a lot of different companies out there, so if you just were to search XML just just the format right there. If you were to type that into Google, you can find a lot of different programs that will help you actually build a sitemap that you can plug into your site. Most good quality site development companies these days also will just automatically place an XML formatting site in your system. There's really two ways that you can do XML and HTML. HTML is great for if people actually want to go into your site and navigate your site through that. Not very typical, but it is helpful. But the XML is the way that Google and Bing and again all the search engines read what your site is. So you want to make sure that is implemented correctly. Typically, you can check to see if it is implemented correctly by just going into your website and then at the end of the .com put a /sitemap.xml. If you have nothing come up, that means you don't have a quality sitemap created and you need to talk to your developer. If you do, it should be a nice list of all the pages that are on your site. Next, we got H tags. So H tags title tags, as many people call them, are very important characteristics for a well-built online marketing strategy. These type of tags are typically the bolded headers or the subheaders of a web page you may land on. So what exactly is it though? It's basically a type of mock-up language that helps the search engines know even further what it's going to be about. Think about it kind of as like a chapter of a book, or if you're reading a newspaper, it has that title at the top to kind of get some intrigue, help you understand what that article is going to be about. It's there to be more description, to give just a tad bit more description from the meta title, but it's also readable for the general public too. So again, it needs to be that bolded area where somebody lands on your site and it's something that interests the people that are jumping onto your site, and also it's used for just kind of categorizing from Google and Bing standpoint. It's a place you definitely also want to make sure you're placing keywords for that page, and also again your location. It's important that information is in your in your H tags, your titles for each page that you come from. So what does it look like? There are really three main uses of H tags, as you can see illustrated in the image right here on the page. This is how you should kind of think about them. Again, it's used to be a signifier to search engines about what that next piece of content is going to be about, and how your page is structured. Search loves structure. They love to understand exactly how you're building things, and so you want to make sure that you make it as easy as possible for them. So H1 should be your main headings, the main subject of what that page is going to be, and then secondary headings for H2 would be, a lot of times if you're reading a newspaper or something, you'll have the main title and then a quick description that's a little bit longer right below that. So that would be like a secondary heading or an H2. And then H3 is if you're going through a web page and it has different sections of a website or of a web page, you can split that out through an H3 tag, which is just showing Google, okay, this is actually something that is built into the content of this page. So that's H tag. Really look for them to understand your relevancy, and you want to make sure that the consistency is really there between all the H tags and the rest of the page on the content on that page. Now we'll jump into layout. Obviously, one of the most important parts of building your website and creating a quality marketing strategy around what you're doing as a business is the layout and design of your site as a whole. Here are a few things that I think you should be thinking a lot about, when you're going to develop your website or update your website, or going to get a new website. So number one, call to actions. We'll get a little more into this as we talk about the conversion tactics in a few minutes in this series. But briefly, just kind of understand what it is. Call to actions are usually placed in your page where you're actually telling your visitor to do something, like call or email or fill out a web form or buy, whatever it is. It's an opportunity for you to tell your potential customer, your visitor, what to do next. So it's very important that you make sure that again, we'll get into kind of the nuts and bolts of what a call to action should be, but it's very important to understand what this is and how you kind of utilize it. Next is just your business contact information in the footer of the page. This really kind of gets back to, as we've alluded through this whole segment, being a local business and making sure that your location is very present on your website. You want to make sure that on every single page, this is our recommendation, that you create that physical location point over and over again. Simple business name and address in the footer of every page will go a long way in telling search engine your location priority. It tells them exactly where you're serving, where your storefront is located, and is a big signifier again to the search engine saying, here's where we are, here's where we serve, and really easy to do. And then social linking. This is again a big part of this layout. You want to make sure, of course, that you're linking appropriately your social networks, your social websites. As I'm sure everybody knows, social has become such a huge part of today's society, and it's really a great place to connect for business and interact in real time with your fans, your customers, and anybody that might be interested in your company. So by linking to your social networks from your site, you can actually drive potential fans and customers to your profiles, where they can understand a little bit more about your business. They can see what other people are saying about your business, and if they like what they see, they can like your page and help bring your company to their entire network. And it's just it's a domino effect after that. The bigger the fan base, the more you're going to find these channels working to bring you potential customers. It's just more clicks to your site, and it's free. So there's no reason not to definitely link to your social networking. The navigation. This is something we come across a lot with companies we work with very often. It's the navigation of your site. It's especially if you're a local company looking to drive people to interact with you. It's one of the most important parts of the entire development of what you're looking to build. I mean, how many times have you landed on a site? Think about yourself. You've landed on a site and just been confused by how you're actually supposed to use the site, how you're going to navigate it, find the information you're looking for. Most people, within just a couple seconds, most people these days don't have a very large attention span. So within a couple seconds, if they don't know how to utilize your site, you're going to find them bouncing. They're going to bounce off your site and go somewhere else, and that next business is going to get, that revenue that they should have been yours because they landed on your site first. Bad navigation also can hurt more than just the user experience and conversion too. So yes, you have people come to your site, they don't like what they see, they can't figure out how to use it, and they bounce off. Well, past that, high bounce rates are also signifiers to search engines that people aren't finding your sites to be informative, that they're not having a good experience on your site, and it will ultimately affect your ranking. Again, the search engines want to make these search queries as relevant as possible to the people that are coming to them. And if they see people just coming and jumping off your site real fast, they're going to say this is obviously not relevant to the search terms that these people are looking for. So to kind of get into how to create an easy to use navigation, really our recommendation is menus and submenus. It's really as simple as that. Let's just talk about menus to start. So your menu should be really kind of the top level of your business. It should be really easy to read, not too much information. This would be on your homepage. This would be, the first menu that you see. Our recommendation is to keep your main menu as concise as possible and have it span either the top portion of the page, like right underneath your your logo, or if you have a banner or something right underneath or on top of that right at the top, really in a great place that's easy to see, or down the left-hand side. So we've done, like I said, a lot of user experience testing, as I said in past webinars. And these are two places that most people's eyes tend to go to first when they are when they're landing on a website. So you want to make sure that where their eye is the content you want them to consume. So you want to make sure that they understand how to utilize your site very effectively and very efficiently. And again, keep it high level. Your main menu should be as short and concise as possible, with headers such as the about us, or the services or products, or your blog, perhaps 2 or 3 others, just maybe 1 or 2 others in regards to certain service sections that you might have, or whatever. But just keep it very concise. You should not be listing every single one of your products or every single one of your services in your main header. It's going to get too cluttered, and it's going to get confusing, and people are going to bounce off your page. And make sure your contact page is also in the top of that. Now, where you get to more the meat and potatoes of your website is through the submenu. So this is typically when you have your menu spanning the top of a website. You scroll your cursor over one of those menu subheadings or those menu headings, and you get a drop-down menu. That's going to be your submenus. It's going to be things like that are going to be able to give some more information. So somebody comes onto your site and says, okay, I want services, and I can find that very easy. And then, okay, I can see a list of all the services. Make it, again, as easy as possible. This sort of structure helps users and the search engines understand the structure of your site, and also helps with something we like to call breadcrumbing your site, or basically creating a clear path of how people should be navigating, again, from your home page to your service page to your criminal defense, for example, if you're an attorney. You want to make sure it's really as just simple and streamlined as possible. And then your services. And again, we're talking about products and services of local businesses. This is, I think, one of the things that we find a lot of companies miss quite a bit when creating their online presence. Is making sure that not only do you want to include all of your services or products that you provide, but make them stand out. This can be kind of problematic for companies that use certain web development services that limit them to a certain number of web pages. And there's a lot of services, great services out there that build websites. But if you don't pay a certain amount, you only get 3 web pages or 4 web pages. So you can't talk about all your services, all your products, and that really can affect your business, because not only do you want to be able to rank for your top search queries, but you want to rank for your other services and other products, because that can drive people to your money services as well. You want to make sure you get as much quality SEO and indexing as possible there. Just think about the more content and services you have relating to your business, the better chance that you are for ranking for those keywords. Beyond that, you want to break it out too. So our recommendation is to make a specific page for each of the services that you are serving. So each product, each service that you have, create a page that is all about that service. Create great content for that service, and really make it informative and interesting for each service that you're making. think about it this way: if you're combining those services together, if you have one page that has 3 different services on it, number one, you're overloading that specific page. People aren't going to understand where to go to find those services that you're offering, and it can be confusing. It can be very confusing to the search engine specifically. So they like to come to a website or a web page and understand exactly what that site's supposed to be about and keep it very topical. If you have 3 different subjects on one search page or on one web page, the search engine is going to say, well, we're not exactly sure exactly what this web page is trying to tell us or where it's trying to go. So unfortunately, we're not going to rank it very high because it's just too all over the place. We'll rank something that is a specific web page specifically for that service or that product because it's going to be more topical to the person that's searching. So again, our recommendation: break it out. Keep each service, each product on its own, and have a lot of great content for each one of those. And you should be really using a website service that allows you to do that. Services that really kind of break down and don't give you the opportunity to create as many pages or as big of a site as you want really are not going to be an effective model for you. And our recommendation is just find somebody that will let you build out as much as possible, as much as you want. Next up, we have formatting of your content. So, this is going to be really important to understand how the overall structure of building your site, and you want to pay close attention to how you format that content on each page. You want to include, keywords specific to that page, what exactly it's about, what the services and products that you're talking about, what the About Us is, and then again, a location. I'm going to press it again: location, location, location. Make sure it's on there because search is becoming very local based, becoming very location based. We want to make sure that you are just telling them over and over, this is the location I am, this is what I serve, and this is how you can get my information. But again, when it comes to your services and your location, make sure you don't go overboard. That's one of the biggest things that we see with a lot of companies is you get there and they don't make it readable. They make it kind of hard to read, or they just keyword stuff, and it really just kind of destroys what they're trying to do and the usership of that exact site. So a couple formatting tips that we have. Again, keep it keyword rich. As I say, make sure you make it easy to understand what the page is really about. Include specific keywords about what your product or service is. Put it in the header of the page, and then make sure that your services, your location is in the first 2 to 3, 1, 2, 3 sentences of your content. You want to make sure that it's right there so people in search engines know from the get-go, this is what you serve, this is the service, this is the product, and this is the location it's served in. Number 2, keep it short and sweet. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people try to go overboard with the content on the site. Always put yourself, again, in the visitor's shoes. This is what I say a lot to our clients. Put yourself in your visitor's shoes. When you land on a site and it's just overwhelming with text and paragraphs, how far do you usually get in reading and consuming all that information? Typically for myself, if it's just a lot of text, I'll read the first sentence or 2 and then move on to whatever else is going to interest me for that time period. So you want to make sure that you keep it concise. Bullet out the points that you want to make. So bullets are great. It helps break up the content a little bit, helps drive a certain thought or idea, but it doesn't get boring. Basically, it's not overdone, it's not overly written out, and it's not daunting to look at when you see just a whole paragraph and a whole block of text. What I like to say is get your visitor intrigued. So have content and information there to get them intrigued, get them interested in your product and your service, but then make them reach out to you for more information. So you think of your site as basically your 10-second elevator pitch. You want them to say, oh, I do need this, but I need more information. Let me call, let me email, let me get a hold of these people. That's really how you should be thinking about the content and the content creation on your website. And then use pictures. I think photos and images, again, we're as humans, we're very visual creatures. You want to make sure that you are using that to your advantage. Say before, use images to really drive the point home, and use a picture or an image that really relates to the service that is within that whatever you're talking about in the content, make sure that image really kind of points to that. And then it also helps too, if you do have a page you have to get a little more content on, that you get a little more writing that has to be done on that page. An image is a great way to just break up that content and keeping that visitor interested. And always remember your alt tags. You want to make sure to get those alt tags in there so you can tell the search engine exactly what you're showing. And then, linking. Linking is a huge part of content formatting as well. Interlinking on your site is great. What does it mean, though? What does it do? So not only does it help search engines understand how one of your services may relate to another or how they can be combined, but it also gives the user the ability to easily navigate your site and understand exactly how they're going to find the products and services they need. So if you have a certain product or service that really kind of segues into another of your products or services, or relates really well, link them. Put a hyperlink in your text to that other service, to that other page, to whatever it is that is very similar to what you're talking about, and just makes it really easy again for your visitors to understand, okay, if I buy this, I want to buy this as well, or if I'm going to get this service, I might as well get this service as well, because it goes very, very much hand in hand. If I'm going to get it, it might make sense to just get them both anyway. And it helps the search engines understand how these two services may relate with each other, and then it helps with better ranking as combined terms, or what we might call long tail terms. And then finally, make it easy to digest and navigate. Again, keep it as simple as possible. You want your visitor to feel comfortable when they get on your site. You don't want someone to, on your site, to ask themselves, what should I do now? What are the services or products that you offer? How do I find the information that I'm looking for on the site? Most of all, make it extremely easy to get a hold of you in multiple forms on every single page. We never know when somebody's on our site when it is that they decide, okay, I'm going to buy. It's hard to really kind of pinpoint that exact moment. So you want to make sure that everywhere on your site you have clear, concise methods of getting a hold of you. So when they do have that aha moment, I think I'm going to buy, they write on the page, say, okay, here's how I do it. Here's how I get a hold of them. Here's how I buy. Here's how I call. Here's how I email. You don't want them to have to go look for it, because when they look for it, that's typically when you see people, jumping or second guessing themselves. So now we have an idea of how to optimize your site on page, how to create a website that is optimized and really will help to drive traffic and make it as functional as possible for the visitors that are coming to your site. So let's talk a little bit about conversion, and when these visitors visit, how to get them to become paying customers. What is the purpose of the way I like to think of it first is, what is the purpose of driving people to your site? So let's start simple. The point of building a site and spending time and money and effort on that search marketing is simply to create interest in your business and the products and services that you sell, and then you can convert those visitors into paying customers. So I mean, if you think about it, that's the real reason we're doing all of this. It's the real reason we build these sites, is to grow our businesses, to create more interest in our business and our products and our services. So always keep that on top of mind. This is what it's for. So let's make sure that we develop and create our site with that in mind. So let's start off with calls to action. So we talked about a little bit before exactly what it is, how it works, but let's dive in and get a little more meaty with it. So a call to action is the act of actually telling a visitor what it is you would like them to do. Whether it's giving you a call or shooting you an email, filling out a web form, or even buying online, buy now. It's important to be specific in telling your potential customer what they need to do next, what the next step is. Number one, you want to make it easy to get a hold of you. Probably the most important part of converting is just making it as easy as possible to take that next step. So make it easy. It's our recommendation that you have a common call to action on every single page. It helps people understand what you want them to do next and creates a consistency across your site. Plus, it helps them understand what that next step is to buy. It doesn't leave them in the lurch, doesn't make them try to figure out exactly what they need to do to get your product. Don't make them search for a way to buy or reach out to you. That's, again, like I said before, that's when people start to second guess their purchase decision. Any time spent between the moment they say, okay, I want to buy, and then their actual purchase time is time that could be used changing somebody's mind. So you want to make sure that as soon as they say, okay, I think I'm going to buy, you have a way for them to do that as fast as possible. So again, calls to actions and processes, web forms, call now, email forms, all that kind of stuff on every page. Just make it on every single page. What are these call to actions like? So, also, what does it do? Call to action on the top of the page is probably the best. And again, this comes back to the research that we've done and a lot of other companies have done into how people look at and digest a website. The top banner, the very top of your website is really the hottest area for the eye to search, to look at a website, and it's one of the first places people go when landing on a site. So put a very forward and functional call to action there. This typically comes in the form, for most companies, as a call now with a phone number, a message right at the top there. But it depends on what you're trying to get them to do. If you want them to email you, then you put that there. If you're trying to sell a product online, you want to put your checkout button up there so they know exactly where to go to check out and they understand how this process works. So you want to make sure that the top right side of your website really has some sort of call to action, has some way of getting hold of you, has some way of understanding what to do next. Next is contact forms, and this is web forms that are on the sites. Contact forms are great. Not only are you able to have someone reach out to you with this type of deployment, but it also allows you to just gather some upfront information about that customer, about that prospect to qualify that sale. Gets you some personal information that you can then use later in emails or reconnecting marketing campaigns, or say you have a newsletter. Now you have their information you can put into the newsletter, so you can drip market to them over a certain amount of time and turn them into a paying customer. It's a great way to, again, just grab some potential customers' information and then keep them up to date with your business. And it's so easy. How many times have you been on a site and said, oh, I want to get a hold, I want some information on this business. I don't want to make a call. People don't call anymore. You don't want to have to sit there and make them call you to get that information. Put a quick form in so people can say, oh, I want more information. I can get it from you just by typing some short things into this form, and then send it over, and then you have their information. You can get a hold of them and sell them. Next is maps and directions. So if you're a local storefront specifically, this really is a no-brainer. I'm not sure how to make it this point more poignant, but make it as easy as possible. You want to make converting a client or the way they look at and navigate your site as easy as possible. The easier for somebody to buy or visit you, the more likely they're going to do so. So it's our suggestion, in your contact page, have a map of where your location is, have it, a pin saying this is where we are, and then have a direction system saying, if you are here, you can click here and then we'll give you directions to actually how to get to your site. You want to make sure that when they do this, it's not only functional on a website, but you want to do mobile functionality too. So you want to make sure that this works well on a mobile device, because most people, when they're searching these days, they're doing it on mobile devices, and they could be walking down the street looking for a restaurant and find your website and then want that mobile optimization because they want to be able to use their device to find your location. So again, maps and directions, very important. It's one of the biggest pieces of technology that we have these days, and we want to make sure that the local business community is utilizing it effectively. And then finally, just working calls to action to your content. I mean, you're writing all this great content, but don't do something with it. If you're, putting all this emphasis and all this information out there about your products and service, tell them at the end of that what to do next, how to get a hold of you, how to buy that product. Once they've consumed all that information, you want to make sure that they know how to get a hold of you, and just a quick message at the end saying, buy here or call us now for a consultation, whatever it is a great way to just kind of massage that information or that call to action into the content itself, and really kind of, take that step in getting people interested in what you're doing. And now, one of the things you want to make sure as you're building your site and looking at conversion is focusing heavily on your strengths. I know so many companies that we talk to that really just put out the information about what their product or service is, but they don't focus on why they should be, why they're better. You as a company know why you might have a leg up on your competition. So let's highlight that. Give some information about your product or service, like I said, and then help the visitor understand why it is they should choose your business over somebody else's. Is your quality better? Do you have a lower price? Is your customer service better? Whatever it is, make sure you emphasize that on every page and then help your customer understand this is why what we do is better than what our competitors doing. I guarantee your competitors are doing these types of things. So make sure that you're also pointing out what makes your business, as intriguing as possible. So again, those strengths are going to be a real big part of converting people into your becoming paying customers of your company. And then remarketing. So lastly, this is when it comes to really converting visitors into customers. It's important to stay diligent. That's one of the biggest things here is marketing and remarketing, and putting all this together is a lot of work. Many visitors who visit your site will really only be in the research phase. So they're doing their homework. They're trying to decide whom they should go with, where they should buy their product, what service is the best. And say you're the first business they come across, and they're still in that research phase. They may forget about your competitive advantage by the time they look at their 10th company. They may not remember exactly who it was that they looked at first or second or third. Our suggestion is, try to use those forms, use those pieces of contact tools that we've discussed before to help grab some information about them, be it an email or a phone number. A great way we see a lot of people utilizing a structure like this is having that customer service pop up that asks a question. It can be any question, really. It can be, how can I help you? Or it can be a question related specifically to that service that really helps, understand and gather information. Another great way to remarket, though, is through advertising. And this is obviously something that we're very passionate about here at Keybot. We are an advertising platform and we do very well through it. But through technology these days that we as advertisers have, we can now track the cookie or the mobile ID number and a lot of different kind of aspects about a visitor when they visit your site. And then the greatest thing about how we advertise these days is we can take that information and track it. We can be able to understand where that person's going. We know kind of what their search history is going to be after a while, and we can remarket to them so that we can serve ads to them for the next, say they land on your site, they're still in the information or research phase. We can send an advertisement, a display advertisement, or a creative to them on a regular basis for whatever it is. It can be a week, it could be 4 weeks, it could be however long you think that buy cycle is going to be, so that they keep your business on top of mind. So when they're looking at another company, they say, oh, that's right, so-and-so company has this product too, and I really like this about them. You want to make sure you're on top of mind. So remarketing techniques, just kind of give you an idea how it works, can a lot of times serve up to 4 times the click-through rates back to your site than if you weren't to use anything. So about 4 times, you're 4 times as likely to have somebody come back to your site if you're remarketing after they've already visited than you would if you weren't. On top of that, we typically see an increase of conversion as somebody coming to your site to actually becoming a customer of about 6 times, 600% increase on average for people actually becoming converted customers of your site with remarketing tactics put in. So again, they're coming back to your site 4 times more often, and they're actually converting to business, converting to a company that's using your service 6 times higher than you would get if you weren't using these kind of tactics. So, obviously you want to think of the ROI there and try to figure out exactly how this is going to be effective for your business. But it's a great way to get those people that, again, are still maybe in that testing phase, that research phase, to decide if this is what they want to go with. So that's a lot of content. I know we kind of seems like we digested a lot here, and we talked about a lot of different topics about how to develop your website and online strategy. But these are just some key features then ensure that your investment, I mean, this is an investment in your web presence. You're spending money, you're spending time. You want to make sure that it pays off. And these are some tactics that typically we utilize with our clients and help them grow their business quite a bit. So think of, really the way I like to think about it is, think of your business, or think of your website, I'm sorry, as really the first impression anybody's going to get to your company. So it's when somebody's searching for a certain product or service, your website is their first impression. It's the first thing they're going to see about your business. You want to make them feel comfortable. You want to intrigue them in your company and the image and the brand and everything you're conveying there, and then get them excited about your products and your services. And make it extremely easy for them to buy when they've made that decision. So that's really kind of the thing we want to emphasize a lot is, get them comfortable, get them intrigued, make it easy for them to use, and then make it easy for them to buy. When they make that decision, you want them to say, okay, I made a decision, here's how I do it. Super simple, super easy. And for us, this is where we've been helping local companies as Keybot succeed in developing high quality, conversion driven online strategies. So let us help you with your site building platform, or develop your online presence through our step-by-step creation and optimization development. Then get out there and start marketing. Your site and your business need to grow, and your revenues need to grow, and this is a great way to do it, through a quality site build system, quality SEO structures, and good advertising. We're happy to walk you through the process. For local stores, one location stores, our site build system is free. You can go on and build your site, and you can build it as large as you want. There's no limitations, there's no restrictions. You can really dive in and build a quality online marketing system through our platform, through the Keybot platform, without much struggle at all, without much hassle. And it works. It works very well. We have some very, very happy clients and customers with how they've been able to structure their sites and really build an online presence. Okay, so I think that's it for most of our content here. We do have a few questions that have come in via email, I believe. It looks like we had a couple come in. What do we got, Billy?
It looks like we have 3 come in. The first is, I'm looking to have my business site redone in the next couple of weeks. It's been about 6 years since we initially built it, and it's pretty outdated. How much should I budget to have my site built?
Ooh, that's a great question. This it can be kind of hard for this one. It depends on exactly what you're looking for and what you need. So from most local company standpoints, there's really not a lot of budget that needs to go into something like this. We find that if you have a big corporate website and you have a lot of information, a lot of portals and all that kind of stuff you're going to be including in your site, yeah, it's probably going to cost a couple $1,000s, $10,000, $15,000 to develop a site like that. But with a local site, there's great tools out there these days that help you create a site, and typically most of them are free or only cost a couple bucks a month to get set up. Our recommendation is finding, again, if you're a local business, I'm not sure what your needs are here, but if you're a local business and just need a website to display your services and your products and your company, a platform like ours is great, to be honest. It's you go on there, you can create your site. It's completely free to use and optimize and get up and running, and it works extremely well. I know a lot of people that go out there and say, we have clients on right now that come up to me and say, how is your site free and effective when I was quoted $8,000 this other company built my local site? And it's an outdated model. Where people come and say, hey, we'll build you a website for a local business like yours and charge you a lot of money. Because these days with SaaS technology, with software as a service really becoming as effective as it is, we're able to create, and just like we're a SaaS company that does this type of thing, we're able to create a fantastic online platform, online website for you that's free of charge, and it continues to update, continues to upgrade itself. There's never any, you'll never have to upgrade your site. So I see, 6 years ago you built a site and unfortunately it's outdated these days. With a system like this, you shouldn't ever have to update again, because it should automatically do it. And there's some other great tools and companies out there that are doing very similar things. So find one of those. That's what I recommend if you're a local company and you don't need a fully, super crazy built out website. Find one of those kind of companies like us, and honestly, it's cheap. There's not much needs to go into it.
Okay, next, I was told by someone that I could actually ditch my website and that people are using their Facebook business page as their site. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay. So yeah, I remember it was probably about 2 years ago. Facebook was actually pushing this pretty hard, saying, use us as your new company page, use us as your structure. Um, I love Facebook. I think it's a great business tool, and I think every company out there should be utilizing it. It's more effective for some companies than it is for others, obviously, but I think when it comes to your online strategy, you should have a differentiation. A Facebook strategy, a Facebook page is great for helping people understand, interact with you, interact with your brand. But when it comes to being able to, the unfortunate part is everybody's still using search. Everybody's still using Google and Bing and search engines like that to find the products and services they need. They're not searching on Facebook. And unfortunately for Facebook, those search queries aren't bringing up Facebook pages all that much. So you want to make sure you build a site that is separate from your Facebook account, interlink them, get them connected with each other, and really kind of pass content back and forth. It's a great tool. I'm not saying anything negative about Facebook. I think it's a fantastic tool for anybody to be using. Any company should have a profile, but I think it's important to have an online presence as well that you can operate and own a little bit more. And I think that's kind of my answer there.
Okay, finally, how often do I need to update my website to make sure it's up to date and keeps ranking well?
Excuse me. This is a great question as well. So, how often do I need to update my website? This is something that, as technology is increasing, we're starting to see become more and more important. Honestly, if you built a website 2-3 years ago, you're probably not mobile optimized these days. It's changing that fast that we typically see just with even design and how design is formatted year after year. A site that's 2-3 years old is typically outdated. It's typically, unless you have somebody working on it effectively all the time, typically is not going to be up to date with all the algorithm changes from the search engines, and will just continuously get more and more, ineffective for what you're trying to look for. I would say, again, how often do you need to update your site? If you're more than 3 years old, I'd probably look at an update. But that's the beauty, again, of a system like ours. And there's other companies, like I said, that do what we do. And it's turning it into a SaaS model, a software as a service model, much like Salesforce. In years before, people, larger organizations, enterprise businesses would have to go out and buy multi-million-dollar packages to implement a sales automation tool. And then every 3-4 years, it was outdated, and they'd have to buy a new one from Sun Microsystems or whoever was building it. And then Salesforce came around and said, "Hey, we're just going to host this all online. You pay a monthly fee, and it will never be outdated. It will always update. You'll never have to, re-implement an entire structure again. You just pay on a monthly basis." And that's the way we think about how website development should be done. And that's the way we built our organization here. It's a SaaS model, so you come in and you pay a monthly fee, or if you're a local business, you just want the the basic structure. It's actually free. There's no cost associated with it, but it updates automatically for you. There's no chance of you having problems with the algorithm for the search engine, because our team keeps on top of it and makes sure that all the sites on our network are always up to date and performing. And then, when it comes to new design changes, new technologies, we're wrapping those in our product all the time. So you're always going to get updated services. You're going to jump on your site one day and see, oh, wow, I have a new tool set. I have a new, blog system that I can use. I have new directory systems. That's what you should be looking. The buy a website and then buy a website 3 years or 4 years later is an outdated model, and we really recommend going with a SaaS type of service. It's a cloud-based kind of service, and having that take care of that for you, so you don't have to worry. Again, with a site like ours, you never have to worry that this question kind of comes mute at that point with a service like ours. Anything else, William?
No, a few more as with last week came in that were company specific, and we'll get back to you once we wrap up here.
Okay, great, perfect. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Again, sorry about yesterday and not being able to have this live yesterday, but it was great to be able to get it out and get this information to you guys today. Join us next week on Wednesday, as long as there's no complications again. On October 22nd, we'll be diving into online advertising, which is a pretty exciting one for us. We love advertising here. We're going to talk about targeting and remarketing and how that works and what advertising these days really can do for you. We'll be talking about advertising over, search engines, display, social, mobile specifically. We think mobile is going to be very big and is very big for the local business community, specifically with location information and technology. So we're going to get into all that. It's an exciting one. Online advertising next Wednesday. Any questions, thoughts? My email is right here. Shoot me a message. If you're interested in figuring out or learning more about how to build a website or how to market yourselves online, we'd love to talk to you and show you what the Keybot platform can do. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week.